I love No Way Home. I really love it. It's my favorite live-action Spider-Man movie to date, and I cannot wrap my head around the movie being nostalgia bait or a mess, because it's just a really great Spider-Man story. Now, I often see people complain online about how the movie falls flat on rewatch, because it's built entirely around shock value. It seems that most forget the messages that were planted all throughout the movie, such as finally getting the great power speech, Andrew Spider-Man finally getting his long-awaited redemption, and Tom Spider-Man finally realizing what it really means to be Spider-Man. Not some little Iron Boy Jr., a real Spider-Man. And we owe all of our thanks to one man, Norman Osborn, aka the Green Goblin. One of the best parts of this movie was the huge ensemble cast of veteran actors returning to the big screen to play their iconic roles. Willem Dafoe returned after almost 20 years to reprise his role of Norman Osborn. And let me just say, after probably like my 500th time watching this film, his acting and his overall presence in this movie still blows me out of my socks. He just does such an incredible job shifting from a confused, innocent Norman Osborn to the maniacal Green Goblin. And I think part of that was a great behind-the-scenes decision to remove his mask from pretty much the entire film. We do see it briefly in the bridge sequence when he first arrives, until his next scene when Norman shatters it in an attempt to rid himself of the Goblin's thoughts. We later meet Norman in the first official depiction of a live-action feast, ran by Aunt May. Willem is known for being an incredible actor, featuring a large catalog of astonishing performances in the likes of American Psycho and Platoon. So it's pretty clear why he excelled so hard in this role. By playing two distinctly different personalities, he steals most of his screen time in the best ways possible. And man, I will never get over that condo fight scene, where we get Tom's Peter and the Goblin going ham on each other, just for the Goblin to give Peter straight belt to ass before killing Aunt May and setting the tone of the rest of the film. The constant line drops, the smashing through several floors, the laughing at Peter while he punches the Goblin with everything he's got. This entire scene is the Goblin aura farming all over Peter. I totally love the Goblin from Tobey's first Spider-Man film because it's an introduction to this perfect version of Norman Osborn. But damn, man, Willem just took it up to a whole different level in No Way Home. And the best part is, there's actual consequences. Tom's Peter loses Aunt May, and finally learns that with great power comes great responsibility.
That only took 20 fucking years.
Later, during the Statue of Liberty fight, we get a one-on-one with Tom's Peter and the Goblin. What a fight scene. Aside from having incredible choreography, the Goblin really sets a lasting impression on this Peter. And even after finally watching Tom's Peter beat the brakes off the Goblin, he's still cracking jokes, all the way until he's finally cured. It seems that he had an even more personal feud with Tom's Peter rather than Tobey's Peter. Speaking of Tobey's Peter, with this film, we finally saw the return of the two prior live-action Spider-Men, after 14 years and 7 years. What a time it was. I can still vividly remember how my theater screamed when Ned opened the portal to Andrew's Peter. And that's not even the best part. I was sure when they first came on screen that they would have lackluster screen time. After all, this is a Tom Holland Spider-Man film. Having the other Spider-Men in the film would ultimately take away from Tom Holland's iteration. Oh, well, I guess it didn't. Turns out Marvel and Sony figured out how to perfectly incorporate these two into the film without taking anything away from Tom Holland. By playing on an older brother/younger brother relationship, Sony and Marvel gave them the space to act as mentors towards Tom's Peter, in a time when he was struggling the most from losing everything that he had. And thanks to the additions of these Spider-Men, we got to see each respective villain having a moment with their OG Spidey. These little heartfelt moments just gave the movie so much more impact. It felt like these characters on screen had watched us grow up with them. Despite all the time that's passed between the movies, it didn't feel like a day had gone by at all. Alfred Molina's Doc Ock was just as incredible as his first iteration in Tobey's Spider-Man 2. I know a lot of you are avid haters of the MCU Iron Spider suit, but god damn, I can never get over that bridge sequence. I love the confused banter between the two, like how Doc Ock is surprised by Peter's Iron Spider legs, or how Doc Ock has no idea who this Peter is. It's also pretty insane seeing the Iron Spider get torn apart by his octopus arms. It's very clear that we underestimated how advanced the technology in his arms were. They're even compatible with modern nanotechnology, which works out pretty well for Peter. Otherwise, he would have been pretty toast in this fight. I know many will argue that Tom had plot armor in this fight, which I can't really argue with. However, I can say that the fight was very necessary in the film. Tom had to be stripped of the Iron Spider somehow. I mean, nanotech like that is just too overpowered. After all, the intent of this film was to strip Tom's Peter of his Iron Man tech. I also want to give praise to the other villains involved in this film, despite their lesser roles. Electro was a huge part of the film, and a significant improvement from his iteration in TASM 2. In TASM 2, he's just a nerdy loser who's weirdly obsessed with Spider-Man, and kind of annoying in most of his screen time. Even when he gets his powers, he just kinda sucks. In No Way Home, he gets some major upgrades through Iron Man tech, and he even maintains his human form. Overall, I just enjoyed this Electro so much more than the original. This was a very necessary upgrade. Sandman was just as great as his Spider-Man 3 counterpart, and Wizard was even great too, featuring some pretty nice CGI upgrades. My only issues with these characters were their lack of screen time in comparison to the other villains. It seems that they were sidelined because they just weren't as important as Goblin, Doc Ock, or even Electro. Nonetheless, their inclusions are great, and I think they get a lot of great moments. With the villains obviously came their respective Spider-Men. For the first time in years, we were seeing Tobey and Andrew's Spider-Man return to the big screen, and it was very much worth it. We saw a great brotherly connection between the three Spider-Men, and my god, I love the swinging sequences between these three. What a time to be alive. Additionally, each Spider-Man got their own time to shine, like Andrew's Peter getting his redemption for Gwen, Tobey's Peter saving the Goblin from being impaled by the glider, and Tom's Peter finally discovering what it means to truly be on his own. Speaking of which, to conclude this video, I want to talk about how incredible the ending was, and why it worries me for the next entry. We all know that the spell was about to break loose, and bring every Spider-Man villain to the MCU, even ones we've never seen before. However, Tom's Peter stopped this by reversing the original spell, and making everyone forget who he is. In doing so, he lost his friends, his family, and his Stark tech. He was set up to finally become the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man that he was meant to be, by leaving Peter Parker behind. This sounds fantastic, right? After all, this is what we have begged for as fans of Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Well, it's been a long time since the movie has released, and ever since, we have discovered a lot about the next upcoming installment in the franchise, Brand New Day. Brand New Day is intended to be a soft reset of Tom Holland's Spider-Man, pushing him to be a street-level version of the Iron Boy Jr. that we've known since 2016. As more plot details come out, it seems the film will be very cluttered, with extra characters that are very unnecessary, such as the Hulk, Jean Grey, Yelena? Why are these characters here? It's not to set up Doomsday, since we know that Tom Spider-Man will have no role in Doomsday. So why are we taking away from everything that No Way Home was setting up? We were finally going to see a fully street-level Spider-Man story, featuring Tom Holland's Spider-Man taking down Mayor Fisk's empire with the help of Jon Bernthal's Punisher. On top of that, it's been confirmed that MJ and Ned will have minor roles in the story, likely Peter stalking their brand new lives. We just concluded their stories at the end of the last movie. Why are we already back to this? It's just annoying and frustrating. Regardless of what's upcoming, I have a strong sense that it won't take away from the incredible story that we got in No Way Home. And despite the hate I see revolving around this movie, from people switching up on it, it's aged really well for me. I think people label it as nostalgia bait because they just can't see anything past the shock value reveal of our favorite characters. But when you take a closer look at all the incredible heartfelt moments, the harsh lessons, and the mastercrafted ending to an origin trilogy, I cannot give it anything less than a 9 out of 10. I'm sorry, I love it too much. But what do you guys think of No Way Home, almost 5 years later?